Hello, everyone. I am Sonia, also known as SG from Let the Lady Speak podcast, where we discuss life, love, dating, and relationships. I also promote self love and healing. Tonight, we are reviewing Put a Ring on It, Season 2, Episode 3. I do reviews for Ready to Love and also Put a Ring on It because they both mimic modern day dating, and there are always lessons to be learned from these shows. Okay. First and foremost, though, I want to thank you for coming. If you are coming back, thank you for coming back. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up and commenting below if you see fit. So let's get into tonight's episode. It's titled Doubling Down. And on tonight's episode, the couples are going to go on dates and their partner will be in the same environment as them. So this was a very interesting episode. There are a few goals to this exercise. Number one, can you trust your partner? Number two, can you trust yourself? Number three, how can you handle things differently than how you normally handle them? And you see a lot of body language. Sean, of course, is anxious and fidgety. Alexia is upset visibly because Darian is going on another date with Kai, and they gave Kai a confessional. So I'm like, what's going on here? And then Jason and Jessica and Eric. Eric is like really focused. Jessica is still kind of like in a play mood about it. You know, she's like, yay, gonna marry me. And Eric is serious about this assignment because I heard him say, okay. Did you guys hear him say, okay? He's like, okay. So that's the goal. So I think Eric is really trying to take this seriously. All the couples have issues, but we're all human. We're all flawed. We all have issues, right? But if a person is deciding to do the work, you got to meet them or you got to let it go, because basically that's what's going to end up happening. So we'll see. So couples are going to go on their dates. What happens next? So first up, Jessica's date comes to the house. His name is Clarence. He's a bodybuilder. And like I said, Eric is taking this assignment seriously. So he is trying to control himself. He's not going to act out. He's going to be welcoming. You know, you got my lady, just take care. And Jessica is just like, it felt good to be affirmed that way. Meaning he kind of wasn't over the top, and that he was encouraging her to enjoy the process. But Jessica still carries that like unhealthy tendency to want a little jealousy. And I guess a lot of people feel that way. I'm not knocking it, but the problem with it is that sometimes it can become very toxic, so you just have to balance it out. But it was a nice, pleasant interaction between the three of them, and she's off. Next up is LaRonda and Sean. We get to their house. She's ironing his clothes. They're basically getting ready for their dates. And I'm noticing something about LaRonda, but I'm going to hold off my judgment, just my analysis, I should say, just real quickly. But, they have a little light banter back and forth. And then Sir James comes to the house. Very handsome man, tall, dark, nice build. He said he's single, no children. He's looking for an independent woman. And that's very interesting because that is exactly what LaRonda is. So we're going to see. But anyway, automatically Sean is, taking little digs. He's laying the groundwork. This is my lady, the love of my life. And here's the thing. Men know how men think. So I'm pretty sure Sir James was like, well, if she's all that, why haven't you married her yet? Like, why am I here? That's how men think. So you can spray all you want, sir. Guess what? Why am I here? I'm here for a reason, and we're going to find out. So LaRonda asks James, why did he want to do this process? He said he's looking for love. And, Sean's like, you're not going to find it here. Like, Sean's insecurity and is pulsating. And honestly, his behavior is exhausting. It really is. It's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, Sean, we get it. But you got to start doing something to work on yourself, because how do you deal with that? It's draining to watch. I can't imagine what LaRonda is going through. But they have a very, it appears to me, I should say, that they have a very codependent relationship. There's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of codependency. Do you guys feel that way, or is it just me? I'm like, there's a lot of games being played both ways because LaRonda's not innocent, you know? So they go off on their date, and Sean is nervous. He's picking his nails and things like that, but at least now he can go off to a date too, and he's not at home by himself, but he automatically picks up the phone and he contacts, I'm sure, the guy that he was talking to. I gotta say that Sean, I'm pretty sure, is like he's a draining friend. He needs some coping skills and emotional management. I'm all for him being able to express his emotions and how he's feeling, but I'm also about motive and intent. And when people are trying to control you with their motives and intent. So we'll see. So LaRonda and James gets to the restaurant. You can tell LaRonda is attracted to him, but he's a very attractive guy. And they're talking, and she asks him why did he do this process, and he said he's ready. But people don't really know what they want. And she was like, "Do you know what you want?" And he's like, "Yeah." "Do you know if you're ready?" is the question. And is he said yes, and then he started talking about somebody else. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready. That just means you're seeing people around you are ready. You feel like you should move in that direction. Your life is your own path. I never would suggest that someone decides to move forward in their life based on what everyone else is doing around them. What do you want to do? Like, are you really, really ready to settle down? So next up, Sean meets with Brittany, who is his date. She's a professional singer, so both of them are artists. And he lets Brittany know. He gives her a hug, lets her know my girlfriend's in there. And Brittany's like, okay. Everyone else is like, okay, so your date is here. But the people, the cast members are like, you see my other one, you see my significant other, do you see? But anyway, they're sitting down, and you could tell that Sean and this young lady was having a pretty good conversation. And if LaRonda wasn't there, he would have enjoyed himself a lot more. But because LaRonda was there, he couldn't get into it quite as much. But he was like, I'm looking for somebody that understands the corporate world. I mean, understands the industry. And she sings a little bit. He was like, oh, you sing? Yeah, I sing. And it gets a little comfortable, but then it gets awkward again, because what I noticed, this is why I say LaRonda's playing games. All of a sudden, she got a little loud. Oh, I want shots. It's time for shots. Let's do double shots. You could tell this is like an early date, because wherever they are, I don't know where they are. Where are they, guys? I don't know. But wherever they are, it's cool. So it can't be too late because it's still like lighter outside. So, but anyway, that doesn't matter. You can drink when you want to. Anyway, LaRonda, the fact that she kept projecting her voice, I think she really wanted to show she was having a good time. So she says she wants Chris to trust her, but she also plays on Chris' insecurities. They played this game together. Sean is not the only one who's problematic. I'm just going to say that. I noticed that. So the young lady was like, are you uncomfortable? And he was like, yeah. Like, he couldn't concentrate anymore. He couldn't keep his eyes off of her anymore. Now his eyes was focused on LaRonda. Forgot all about poor Brittany. And Brittany's sitting there like, well, I can go. I can go. So next up, Jessica and her date gets to the restaurant, Clarence. And they're talking. And she seems to be a little comfortable. I would like for Jessica to kind of expound on her conversation, which Eric is going to bring to our attention later. But they are talking, and then Eric and his date comes in. I think her name is Tanisha. Please forgive me if it's wrong. I'll put it in the link if it's wrong. I'll correct myself. And Jessica's like, oh, that's my boyfriend. She lets out a laugh and that's my boyfriend and so on and so forth. And he's like, yeah, okay, well, back to our date. He's like, I didn't notice. I'm over here trying to eat and I was enjoying our conversation. Let's get back to it, and Jessica is still focused on Eric and his date. And so Jessica was like, how do you feel about it? He was like, I don't care. Anyway, Eric comes in and sits down and lets his date know that that's his lady. And Tanisha gave Jessica a compliment, said she was beautiful. You can tell that Tanisha is a very sweet young lady and she has a great personality. I actually watched, she has a video, you guys, on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel, and I ended up seeing, somehow it was in my recommendations. So somehow it was in my recommendations and I saw her video and she talked about behind the scenes of this. So go check that out. Anyway, they started talking, Tanisha and Eric, and they're having like a great conversation. It's like back and forth, and he starts talking about how he enjoys the communication and he likes having fun, but he likes talking. And they just kind of show a little snippets of it. You can see that they're really, really enjoying themselves. So Jessica gets uncomfortable and they leave the restaurant, and she's disappointed that Eric didn't notice her. But Eric is really engulfed in this conversation. And what I have to say to this is this: the whole jealousy thing, like I said earlier, it is immature and it's draining, right? To a point, like that can't be, everything can't be about jealousy. And if you're going to chase me, I think Jessica honestly just needs to grow up. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but I think there's a lack of maturity there. And I think Eric is really trying to grow. I think Eric wants to be a better man, and he's looking on how can he be that. He has to let go of the party time. So how do I get to a better place? And he enjoys this conversation. People grow, your partner grows, and that's why it's important for you guys to check in with one another so you know where you guys are at, and check in with yourself so you really know where you are, what it is that you want, who you are as a person, and what is now important to you, because what's important to you today may not be important tomorrow. And I think that's where a few individuals are, meaning for sure I feel that Eric is that way. And I also think Darian is in that way also. But I still think Darian battles with his rapper status, and his past and who he was and the identity with that. So I skipped this part, but Darian and Kai were on their way to the restaurant and they're having this conversation. And I really just don't, I understand the Kai situation is good for TV, but I really don't appreciate how she's conducting herself towards someone who is in a relationship. I said it before, I said it again. It's just the level of disrespect that she displays. But anyway, they get to the restaurant. So far, they're okay. They're laughing, joking, talking. And again, she keeps talking about how she can tempt him in a sense. I'm not going to repeat what she said, but, basically, I want to tempt you. And how can I tempt you? Like, how can I take you from your woman kind of deal? It's like, first off, no one can ever be taken. Someone either goes or they stay, right? That's their choice. For whatever reason, they decide to do that. But more than that, why are you trying to navigate the relationship in this way? And I would like to see more conversations like really about them too. But anyway, or about her as a person versus her trying to figure out how she can steal him. But anyway, so Alexia and her date comes in, and this is what I'm going to say about Alexia before I get into the date portion. Her body language says it all. Alexia shrinks herself. She ducks her head. She ducks her body. She shrinks herself. Not this person. So she had her hat and she's like, she's fixing her hat and she's all tucked down. Darian is nervous. The girl is like, this is messy. Kai. And it's just awkward. It was awkward to watch. Um, but Alexia, like, you really got to do some you work. This guy is on his date with you, and he was like, I ain't focused on that. I'm focused on you. I want to know more about you. She says what she does for a living, but he's like really just trying to hold a conversation with her, and she can't take her focus off him, and she can't disassociate herself from him. And she keeps talking about his status. It is like, oh well, his who he is and what he does. And it's like, why do you keep focusing on that? You want everybody to know that he smoked. Like some people don't care. Not everybody is impressed by that. Like you're his biggest fan. Everyone else isn't a fan of his. And if you want them to be into you, why do you worry about whether or not they're a fan of his? Because how you guys are meeting, it's not like they can get through to him through you, because that's not the structure of this show. I really would like for Alexia to, spend some time with herself and regain her identity. She's lost her identity into being his girl or his lady and being his advocate and everything that he needs. She can't even talk about who she is. He asked about her hobbies, and she's like, I have hobbies. I play basketball. And he said, you still play basketball? Sometimes. It's like, you got to get back to you. So the situation gets a little bit uncomfortable between, Darian can't focus. He's fidgeting and he just can't focus. He can't focus with her being over there with another guy. I think honestly, he can't focus with her being there, being with another guy. I think he doesn't want to hurt her, so he doesn't want to see her there. I think it's just like a combination of things, and he couldn't get it together. He was so fidgety. So they leave. And here we go with the disrespect. Kai grabs his hand and kind of pulls him out. And of course, Alexia's like, we're going to let hands go. We're going to let hands go. And, Kai is smirking and laughing. It's all funny to her. And for me, I would think that Darian, unless he's really, really into her, he's planning on moving forward with her. I would think Darian, just out of respect of his relationship, will cut this off, because she knows no boundaries. And that's a dangerous game that you're playing with someone whom you've invested a lot of your life with. So they leave the restaurant, but Kai thought it was, funny that she was dragging Alexa's man out of the club. It's just a lot of immaturity. I just found it to be very immature. And I'm a big fan. I am a big fan of solidarity amongst women. So I didn't appreciate her behavior towards Alexia. Like, you didn't have to disrespect her. So Eric comes back from his date. He's super excited. He had a wonderful time. You could tell he's buzzing too, And Jessica's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like, why are you so happy? He asks her about her date. She basically says it went well. And then she asked him about hers, and Eric went into it. And Eric was basically going on about the communication, how great of a time he had, and he was in a bubble. Where Eric went wrong is his approach. So it probably would have been better if Eric had come home and just said, baby, on this date I realized something. I realized it's been a long time since we've communicated on this level, and just kind of went through what he realized versus giving so much praise. Although I will say, sometimes we have to hear what we don't want to hear. And sometimes we have to hear what we don't want to hear, and it's going to be difficult. And it's all about intent. Is he intentionally trying to hurt you? No. And you can tell Eric isn't. Eric is torn. Like, he loves Jessica. He cares for Jessica, it seems. He just needs more. And he's trying to get her to understand that, but how he is communicating that may not be quite the best way, because if he's making it, how he's communicating it, she's receiving it as, this woman is so much better than me. Now, that's really Jessica's issue, but I do think that he could have gotten his point across and finessed it. The old saying goes, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And he's not being disrespectful per se, but he's praising this woman instead of praising what he realized. Because really what he's saying is, I realize I want a relationship where we can communicate on a deeper level. That is what he's saying. Where we can do more than just have sex and fun and pop bottles. But he's not saying it like that. And so Jessica is just torn apart. She's trying to receive it. She can't really receive it. And she's really misinterpreting it. But it has a lot to do with how he's communicating too. So the couples come back and they meet with Dr. Nicole. Dr. Nicole lets Sean know, your filter is broken. So they start talking about Sir James, and he's trying to take over the conversation. No, she doesn't like that. She she doesn't like that. She doesn't even like muscle. He comes over there with muscles and nice cars, and that's not her thing. Meanwhile, he's muscular. He may not have a nice car, but the bottom line is he was speaking for her, and he wasn't allowing LaRonda to speak. He was dictating and trying to project what it is that she was feeling. And Dr. Nicole clocked that and basically shut it down. It was like, no, you're using tactical control. And honestly, if you look at his face, he was like, yeah, I am. Sean knows exactly what he's doing. Sean is extremely manipulative, and has some real deep rooted issues that he needs to go address with himself and his own personal therapist would be good. But LaRonda talks a little bit about same thing I said earlier. She's like, for one, he thinks all these things are happening that's not happening, because he was talking about how Sir James touched the small of her back as they were walking out. I think that big shot she had made her a little tipsy, because she did kind of like a lean over, and he grabbed her, waist and kind of pulled her in. But he wasn't groping or inappropriate, but you can tell they had a big argument over that, right? So basically, Loranda was like, this is exhausting. And I can only imagine, because, if you are in a place where you are around men and you're working with men, you have to deal with him worrying about whom you encounter on a daily basis. And anytime you go out with your friends, like, it's basically like being in prison, right? I was in love with a narcissist, and I recognize a lot of his behavior as well. I don't necessarily think he's a narcissist, but I do believe he's very manipulative, immature, and he has a lot of issues that he hasn't dealt with, and he's extremely controlling and insecure. And I feel like those are things he needs to address. Like, that's not someone you get into a relationship with, because they're not to the point where they're even going to allow a healthy relationship to happen, because everything that's wrong, they're going to constantly bring to the table. And I'm telling y'all, LaRonda was looking for a way out. This show for her was a way out. She saw Hollywood and she was like, okay, that is him. And I'm going to get out the same way. So it's not really funny. It's actually sad. But yeah, he's pretty exhausting. And you can tell that LaRonda's getting fed up. So Dr. Nicole tells Sean, you need to learn how to manage your emotions and manage yourself. And you can see Jessica kind of squirm, because she's having those same issues. Not as bad as Sean. Sean's in a league of his own, but she's definitely having a hard time managing her emotions in this process. So next up is Darian and Alexia, and there's so much with the two of them. So Alexia talks about her date And she says how the guy wasn't worried about Darren. She was just trying to shoot her shot. And she is so focused on that. A man isn't checking for another man, right? If he's in himself, he's not checking for another man. What's up with you and I, right? And that's what her 2 dates, that's what they've been trying to do. What's up with you and I? Who are you? I'm trying to get to know you. Her whole everything, like I said earlier, I'm not going to keep repeating, I'm sorry guys, is focused on Darian. And I understood what she was saying when she said that Kai laughed at her and was, because Kai was being disrespectful. Let's just get down to it. She was being disrespectful. This is a game to her. And this is their relationship. And that's why, like I said earlier, I don't feel like Darian needs to go on another date with Kai, because Kai wants to keep Kai wants to keep crossing the boundary. So unless Darian is going to like leave Kai and leave Alexia and be with Kai, I don't see why you would keep moving forward with this. But Darian starts talking about how in his confessional, they don't fight fair and there leaves a scar. So what I'm thinking is that those two have had such a volatile relationship for many, many years. And again, it's another form of codependency. They don't know how to let that go. But you can tell they have that friend side that keeps them bonded or connected. But the romantic area of their relationship has taken a lot of hits. But they still really love and care for one another. It's just they have a lot of toxic behaviors. That's the bottom line. And you can tell. So if you look at their body language, they're like close to each other still. Even with all of this going on, they are connected. But if you look at the body language of Sean and LaRonda, they are separated and both of them are like closed off. So I just think the dynamic is interesting between the two of them. But Dr. Nicole was like, why didn't you, what would have happened if you focused on your own on your date? How do you think the outcome? Because the goal was to react differently. And Alexa admitted that she didn't follow directions, and moving forward she's going to do better, because basically she's trying to learn in this process. But there's a lot going on, and I have concerns about him. Like, I watch his body movements and language, and just some of his mannerisms, and I think there's some other secrets between them that they're not being honest about. They really don't have to be on this platform, but I think it's a little deeper than just what we're seeing. Some of the struggles that she has to deal with. And I think it probably is another reason why she's so protective of him. So Dr. Nicole reminds them, you can't control your partner. You can't control the process. And that's huge. People think they own other people. And people think they control other people. You don't own or control anyone else but yourself. You are accountable for you and only you. And that is lost so many times in relationships, not just, dating or marriages, but even in friendships. No one has to do what you want them to do because that's what you want them to do. That's not how this goes. So Dr. Nicole reminds them of that. And Alexa, again, she said she shouldn't have did it. She's going to learn from the process. She's learning from the process. And she's going to keep working on it. So next up, there's Jessica and Eric. And Dr. Nicole asked Jessica how was her date with Clarence. And she said it went well. I really think she was just preparing for what Eric was going to say about his date. But she said she had a good time on her date. And Dr. Nicole asked Eric about his date. And Eric, like, you really can see the sincerity in his face. He's not trying to hurt Jessica, and that's what Jessica needs to understand. And again, he goes back to the communication, and he talks about what he learned about himself. And what he learned is he can like someone not just on a physical level. And, Jessica is offended because she feels like they've had these deep conversations. But let me just be honest, she's so busy being offended, she's not really listening to what he's saying, he is giving her the tools. He's saying, I need more for us. I need to evolve. I need to grow. And Jessica doesn't want to hear that. Listen, all of our beauty is going to fade eventually. We may be beautiful in the person's eyes that we're with, but you're not young forever. It's not tight forever. And I think Eric is recognizing that more. And when men, not even being funny, no shade, but when they start losing their hair and everything, those things become more real to them, right? Because their physical appearance is changing. They want to know that you love them for something more than what they have to offer as well. But Jessica is she just needs some more time to mature. She needs to mature for sure. So Dr. Nicole asks, first, Dr. Nicole reminds everybody again, you don't get to say who and what a person is. Everybody is their own individual. You can't convince a person that they are this because that's what you feel and that's what you're projecting. Bottom line, right? So stop it. She asked Alexia and Darian. She asked Darian, do you want to go back out with Kai? And he's like, yeah, because we need a do-over, redo. He's like, yeah, I just don't think it was fair to her, which, ding, ding, he's concerned about how she feels. It's going to be curious. I'm curious as to how this is going to play out with them too. And then Dr. Nicole asked Alexia, are you going to go back out with the same gentleman? And she was like, no, he's a nice guy, but I'm not attracted. And Darian's over there shaking his head, no, no, no. And I don't know. I'm like, so did you guys talk about it and he already knew that you weren't into this guy and you wouldn't be attracted, or is he doing the same thing, meaning dictating how she's going to move forward? So I don't know. But Alexia was like, no, she's not going to go on another date with this guy. They can be friends, but she's not attracted to him. So Alexia is learning that she has to focus on herself. I'm like, yes, girl. Yes. You got to focus on yourself because he's focusing on himself in this process. And I'm going to tell you something. Men do that well. Most of the time, men will focus on their needs and wants. And we're focusing on their needs and wants. And then no one's focusing on you. So you got to focus on you. You got to focus on you. So I'm happy she came to that realization. Next up, we have Eric and Jessica. Dr. Nicole asks Eric and Jessica asks Eric, is he going to go back out with Tanisha? And I really hope I'm saying her name right. And he says no, because basically he wasn't physically attracted to her. But I honestly think if Jessica hadn't had that breakdown in the kitchen, he probably would have gone out. What do you guys think? Do you think he would have gone out with her again? Because he really, really enjoyed that conversation. He really, really enjoyed himself. He liked how that made him feel. And people like to repeat what makes them feel good, right? So I think he would have did it. I just think he felt so terrible that he made Jessica cry. He just didn't want to put her through that again. Like I said, I think Eric really cares and loves Jessica. I just don't think Jessica's in the right place right now. So next we get this cliffhanger. Dr. Nicole asks LaRonda, do you want to go on a second date with Sir James? And we all know LaRonda wants to say yes. But she is considering Sean, and she's looking at Sean, and Sean says, she means the world to me, and this is dangerous. Sean, you can't control her. Like, you can't control the situation. She's allowing it, but it shouldn't be. So anyway, it's to be continued. We'll find out next week. I hope she says yes, because she wants to say yes. And I'm going to say probably for the third or fourth time, LaRonda's looking for a way out. She's going to use this show to get out, and hope that it will allow her to be out safely, because, Sean is giving off not so stable vibes, unfortunately. So that is it for tonight's review. Please let me know what you think. Do you agree, disagree? You have something to add? How are you feeling about the show so far? Honestly, I kind of want all the couples to just kind of like part ways for a while, but I know that's not my place to say, so I don't know. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, thank you so much. Please check out my other reviews on Ready to Love. And then also, I will be reviewing Put a Ring on It. I had to work, and I worked rotating day and night shifts, so anyway, so I appreciate you for stopping by. If you like the content, please give me a thumbs up, comment below, please share. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I love you for who you are. Thank you for letting me speak. I want you guys to have a wonderful, great night. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.